want to build a dropshipping store, but you feel overwhelmed and you have no idea where to start? Maybe you've already watched a few videos, tried setting up things yourself, and maybe you got stuck along the way. Don't worry, you're not alone. In this video today, I'm going to show you the exact setup process to start your Shopify dropshipping store today, from scratch, step by step, in under 12 minutes. No experience needed, no technical skills, and no skipping important parts. I'm going to show you everything you need to do to set up the back end of your store and a quick walkthrough of the entire Shopify dashboard, store builder, and product builder. The goal of the video is simple: for you to understand and navigate through Shopify. So if you're serious about starting your online business, this can be perfect for you. And at the end of the video, I'm going to tell you the fulfillment that I use to fulfill my orders. So stick around for then, and let's get right into it. Okay, so here we are on Shopify. I'm just going to give you a quick rundown of everything here. So as you can see, here is the homepage. So essentially what you're going to see here is like your sales and all that kind of stuff. Then we go to orders. This is where your orders will come up. So when you make an order, people who purchase through your Shopify store, the order will come up with what the customer purchased. Then if we go to products here, this is essentially where you set up the product. So let's say we want to add a new product. We'll click add product. And then so when we go to add product, we can actually name the product whatever we want. So let's just say ear cleaner. Okay. Then we'll save that. And then what we'll do, we can add an image here. So media. Then we can price out the products. We can do like $29.95. And then you can already do a compare price. So let's say the actual price is $29.95, but we're going to say that the discounted price is that compared to $60. We're going to do $29.95 and then compare price $59.95. Okay, so just leave it like that. And then right here, you want to click availability. So we'll put 1,000. Okay, so 1,000 pieces of that product. Now we're going to scroll up here and then just simply click save. Now, whenever you want, you can add your media. So this will be your product images for your Shopify store. Then we have your collections. So for example, if you're selling niche products, you can have all the products, like multiple products in one single collection, where you can add them all under one collection. Then we have your customers. So whenever you get customers to your Shopify store, the customers will come up here. Then we have discounts. So discounts, if you ever want to make any discounts, amount off of the product, buy this, get this, amount off the total order, or free shipping, you can simply do that all through here. And it's very straightforward. As you can see, discount code or an automatic discount. And you can just write whatever you want, the percent or the fixed amount, and whatever product that you want to add it onto. Content, I don't really use too often, so you don't really need to worry about that. Then when we go to markets, you always want to make sure your markets are set up. So just make sure you always have all of your markets that you're selling in to be active. Then analytics. So I really like analytics, and I think it's super important when you're running a store because you want to analyze all the information you're getting, like the total sales, returning customers, order fulfilled, the orders you're getting, what's your AOV, average order value, sessions, where are these sessions coming from, where are your purchases coming from. All this information is here for you. So I think it's super, super important to understand your analytics. And then as well here, you have live view. So you can actually see your live sales and live traffic. Then we have our online store. So this is where you're going to go to actually edit the store. And I'll go into more detail about that shortly, but I still want to go over the settings before we get into that. So here we have our settings. So essentially on the left side here, we have general, plan, billing, users, payments, checkout, all of these different options that you can go through. So here on general, this is where you're going to name your store. So as you can see, we did Wax Gone. And as you can see here, we have Wax Gone Pure Hearing. And this is essentially where you're going to name your store. So when you click this, you can just simply name your store. Then we also have our currency that we're selling in. So US dollar, as you can see. Then here you have your plan, your Shopify plan. And then you have your billing here. Then you have your users. And then your payment processing. So when you're collecting payments, make sure you set up your payment processing. Here we have domains. So when you want to set up a domain, you can either use Namecheap to buy your domain, or you go here, buy new domain, and then you'll simply write whatever you want to purchase. Just let it load in. And then you're able to search whatever you want. So we'll do like waxgone.co. Okay. And then we'll just search, and then you're able to buy the domain that you want. Okay. Then we have here notifications. So if you want to set up notifications, you'll customize your emails. So it makes it look really nice and branded. All you'll do is click change, add your logo, and then add your color code. Then here at the bottom, we have policies. So this is like your return policy, your privacy policy, terms of service, shipping, and contact information. All you're going to do is literally just insert a template for all this. Super simple and easy, just very straightforward. We're going to edit it on Dawn. That's the theme that we picked. There's two things you really need to focus on. Number one, this right here. Think of this as the frame of the entire store. So you have your homepage here, you have your product page. If you want to go to your product page, you have that here. If you want to go to your collections, you have that here. If you want to go to the cart page, you have that here. Your checkout page, all of that's here ready for you. So let's say right now I want to go to my product page, I want to edit that. I'll go to default product, and then I'm able to go and edit it. Okay, let's say I want to go back to the homepage. I'm back on the homepage. So once you understand that, you'll be able to navigate through your entire website. Then on the left side here, you have three things: sections, theme settings, and then app embeds. Okay, so with sections, this is just like this, all the features on your Shopify store. So let's say like the announcement bar is up here, you can move it. Let's say your image banner, you want to move it, you can move it, right? If you want to add more things, you can add sections. Okay, so I can add the product section here, right here, it's just added. I can add, image with text, right? So you can add as you go. And if you want to edit any of this stuff, like for example, if I want to edit image with text, I can either click it or I can simply go to it on the left side here on sections and edit it on the right side here. And then you can just click it, okay? So you can navigate as you want. Then on theme settings, this is where you add your logo. So just upload your logo, your favicon, color codes. So all your color codes you can simply add here, right? On the right side, it'll open up. And then typography, so whatever typography you want, you can simply add that here. Then you also have buttons. So if you want corner radius on buttons, you can turn this on. Then variant pills, I like to have that on too. And then lastly, media, I always turn this on as well. Okay, so that's just a rundown of it all. Pretty straightforward. Just always make sure you're saving as you're building out your store. And obviously there is apps to your Shopify store, and you need to make sure that you have BS dropshipping added to your store. This is how you're going to fulfill your orders when you make sales. Make sure your Shopify store is connected to your BS dropshipping account, and you're able to get your first quote with BS dropshipping and fulfill your orders through BS dropshipping. So that's everything for today. Hope you did enjoy that video, and now you know how to navigate through Shopify, and you'll finally be able to start and build your own first store. If you want to use BS dropshipping for fulfillment, there's gonna be a link in the description. Click that link and sign up today. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.